Hello, football fans, and welcome back to Face of the Franchise in Madden 21. I decided I'm going to go ahead and do a review of Face of the Franchise here because my game is now at a point where it will no longer allow me to move forward in the game. Anytime I try to get to the next preseason game that I'm supposed to play, the game just freezes up. I've tried several different things, but it won't let me move forward. And from what I've read online, this is somewhat of a common glitch, and the only way I'd be able to get around it is by actually just restarting Face of the Franchise. I don't feel like doing that because I really want to play through to the Super Bowl and stuff in the actual franchise mode. I think I've gotten as much information out of Face of the Franchise as I'm going to get for now. Maybe I'll return to it in the future, but for right now, I just want to give sort of my impressions on the Face of the Franchise mode, what I've thought, what I've played through, and really, I have to say I'm somewhat disappointed with it. We can start here with the fact of the teams you can pick for the high school are really, really limited. They have more teams in the franchise mode that you can change your actual, relocate your team to a new place and get those different teams, but they only put in a small group of them here in the Face of the Franchise mode as possibilities for the high school team. I felt like that was a little bit of a letdown. When it comes to the college teams, it's even worse. So when it came to colleges, I was really disappointed in the number of selections possible. I know that this is an NFL game, so I know they weren't going to have too many college choices probably, but as you can see here on the screen, there's only like 10 to 15 choices possible. They're all over the country, so it's not like they're rivals with one another normally and such. It just really made it sort of hard to enjoy this part. And it got worse when you actually got to the college games because they weren't actually at the college stadiums or anything. So you had the college uniform, but the experience didn't feel realistic at all. I don't know if this is something to still do with the NCAA and not wanting to make a video game right now. Um, that still bothers me. I can't wait for an NCAA college football game again because the old ones used to be so fun to play. But yeah, this was sort of a letdown. While the lack of choices for college teams was a letdown to begin with, some of the glitches in the game really were upsetting. Like here, I'm supposed to be at the national championship. I'm being told by my teammate that I won't get to start the game, things of that nature. But as you can see here, my teammate's not even wearing the same uniform as I am. He's got what looks sort of like a old Houston Oilers away game jersey on. It doesn't say Michigan State. It doesn't have the colors. It's just entirely not right. Here comes another player in the back who has the same very basic standardized uniform on that I'm assuming is supposed to be a teammate. I assume I should know who this person is, but I have no idea because of the fact that they're not even wearing the same uniform as me. This happened several times during the Face of the Franchise mode. As we can see here, I'm supposed to be a member of the Carolina Panthers, but the coach is wearing the Carolina Panthers colors and emblem, and I'm at least in black, and I think I've got silver pants on, but it looks like we're in the Houston Oilers locker room because everybody else around us is wearing these very standardized uniforms. This kind of a glitch when the game is actually live and is supposed to be finished is really sort of sad that it's still included. And there was another glitch that also really bothered me. Here my team is about to get the ball for the first time, and the audio that's going to occur here is really frustrating.
But they get 9 back on the return. And the Panthers will take over now, 1st and 10. Out come the Patriots with their new quarterback for 2020, and he, like their previous quarterback, a former MVP, Cam Newton.
Now, obviously, I'm not playing as the Patriots, and this happened several times during the game, what I was able to play of the Face of the Franchise. I really hope this does not happen in franchise mode. I mean, I realize Cam Newton had been the Carolina Panthers quarterback for several years, but Teddy Bridgewater is the quarterback now. Cam Newton's over on the Patriots, which was announced correctly, but I'm not playing as the Patriots, so why was that voiceover being heard here? It was really pretty frustrating, and it really just sort of felt like the game is unpolished and unfinished. And I don't know what the reason is for that, what was the most upsetting to me about it is that while glitches like this are still occurring in the game, I read an article on how EA Sports made sure to take the time to remove anything Washington Redskins related from the game. They wanted to ensure that they had removed any logos, any fan designs, anything like that that said Washington Redskins in the game. Which I understand. The team is no longer the Washington Redskins. I get that, but what bothers me about it is you wasted the time to do that right now without finishing the game and creating a product that was actually enjoyable for the fans first. That to me is frustrating because it seems like they cared more about sort of the social justice type issue here than they actually did about making a game that was fun for the fans first. The fact of the matter is, whether they want to sort of delete the Washington Redskins from their game now or whatnot, the Washington Redskins was the actual team that competed in the NFL for years and years. They won multiple Super Bowls, and that's just part of history. Personally, I don't see why you wouldn't leave them in as the historical team. Yes, make it the Washington football team now. Yes, in whatever next year's game might be, make them whatever their new mascot will be. But it's not a huge deal that they're the Washington Redskins. Instead of having had your programmers spend the time to erase that history from the game, a history that you're connected to, instead ensure that the game that you've produced is actually a quality game first and that people can really enjoy it. Because if the game's not good, then what's the point? So that was really sort of depressing to me, that there are still these major issues and major flaws in the game that really take away from the reality of the game overall. But those were allowed to still exist in the quote unquote final product that was put out on Steam, while other things like, having to remove the Washington Redskins was taken care of beforehand. Then let's go ahead and get to the storyline. With the storyline, you start out that you're at the end of your career, you're being interviewed by Reggie Bush, who keeps saying that he's going to stick to the script and don't worry, he's not going to veer off the script. I don't even know what the point of that is. Maybe it's something that happens later in the storyline that I wasn't able to get to since the game won't let me move on in the in the games. But it seemed like they were trying to make it almost sinister in what was going on when it really wasn't. You just were a football player that had a career. But anyways, then it puts you back in time to your high school days where you just transferred to this school, you're a hockey player who has been asked to try out for the team, and you're going to try out as quarterback. That by itself is sort of weird enough, but whatever. You have the starting quarterback who's not really happy to have you on the team. I guess that's sort of realistic. However, then, as you soon learn, the starting quarterback has a heart condition. And this is a continual storyline that pops up throughout the story mode, where he keeps having heart issues. So in high school, you have to make this decision of whether or not to tell the coach that your friend or teammate is having these heart issues or not, where he'll get benched. It's really far-fetched to begin with at this point, but if it seemed far-fetched at that point, it gets even weirder when you both go to the same college because he's decided he's going to take back his role as quarterback since he had switched to receiver after his heart surgery. And then he has another issue with his heart again here in college in your junior season. When the season ends, the head coach decides, oh, well, he's had multiple heart surgeries, but you know what? I've decided he's still going to be the starting quarterback for the team. It's so unbelievable and ridiculous. Even your character acts shocked of the fact of the coach's choice because of how unbelievable it is. But all of this is done so that way they can open up where you can decide to play another position. I get the fact that they want you to be able to choose between wide receiver, running back, or quarterback, but really this should have been done in a better way than this. For one, why do I have to play through like 8 games before I can choose to either be wide receiver or running back? Having me play quarterback, if that's not the position that I want to be in, doesn't make a lot of sense, and it makes it more unrealistic when then I'm going to be competing for a job and trying to get into the NFL at a different position than I started at. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It really seems like they did not spend a lot of time deciding to write the storyline for this, and it was just really awkwardly done. But don't worry about that, because they know how to fix that. We'll have Snoop Dogg in the game. Because Snoop Dogg doing a few voice lines and having a character in the storyline makes things better? I don't really understand. I know that Snoop Dogg is a big fan of football. I know that he's been very supportive of high school football with some of his relatives and such. So I have respect for that. It's just the fact that he doesn't add anything to the storyline here. And this is just a really awkward scene where you get to talk to Snoop Dogg and he says what a fan he is of what you've done in high school. It doesn't add to anything other than making this even more unbelievable of a storyline. So overall, in summary, this mode had significant glitches that sort of break the reality by having your teammates in outfits that aren't the same as yours, by having the Patriots announced when you're playing as the Panthers. And then the storyline itself is just so unbelievable and far-fetched, it really just doesn't work. With all of that in mind, as I said, if I wanted to, I would have to restart this Face of the Franchise mode in order to play through it again. But as of right now, it's just not worth it to me. That sort of makes me sad. I was really hoping for something out of this, as sort of the story modes in, say, the EA Sports college games didn't have a lot of story to it, but you could take a kid from high school and make him into a college star. Right now, I know that's somewhat what you're supposed to be able to do here, but the glitches and the storyline issues to it just make it where it's not that fun to do so. On top of all of that, if this is my storyline, then why do I have to play as the other characters as well? Why is it making me the kicker, playing on defense, all these other people? Even if you go to the Super Sim mode, which I could do, so that way I would only play, say, the offensive plays, I still have to be the receiver after I throw him the ball. Or I'm the quarterback before he hands the ball off to me as running back. It really sort of breaks the reality of this is my character and this is the person I'm playing as. So, I wish they had spent a bit more time and actually made this mode worth something. With that being said though, I'm still really excited for the game. I'm happy to finally get a good football game on Steam again. And I am really looking forward to the franchise mode where I will be able to take my team, the Carolina Panthers. I'm going to be able to build them as I want to. Really, I'm fairly happy with the moves they've made in real life right now. The only person I might try to add to the roster is Leonard Fournette, who just got traded to the Tampa Bay, or who was picked up by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and put him in there so I have both Christian McCaffrey and him to make a really solid running game. But besides that, I'm going to probably play the team as they are and focus more of my time on moving the team from Carolina to Orlando. Because I just think having a team that's by Disney, by Universal Studios, would be a really interesting thing, as I think that a lot of people who come to see the theme parks and stuff might take in a football game once in a while. So it wouldn't be a fan base as the standard type of fan base, but it would be sort of almost a transitioning fan base constantly that was just fans who had come in for a week to enjoy the parks and a football game at the same time. So I think that's what I'm going to be doing in the main mode. I'm going to leave them as the Panthers, so it'll be the Orlando Panthers. I may try to put those videos online, but it seems like my computer really sometimes struggles with the capabilities when it comes to Madden and recording it. So we'll have to see what I do with that. With all of that in mind though, if you've enjoyed my review here, I hope that it's been helpful to you. And if you have, please go ahead and click the like button. If you have not already, please subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon so that you're aware when I produce new videos. Thank you, and let's hope that football both on the computer and in person gets back to normal with all that's been going on in the world.